Hi, Algebra. I'm sorry that I'm leaving you another video. I had to leave early today. I was unexpected, but I just want to go through the properties with you, so I'm just going to go ahead and get started. So the commutative property, it starts with the letters CO for change order, which means the order is flip-flopped. And so commuting to work is my one example, or when you're talking on the phone, you're talking back and forth. So changing order with addition is like 3 plus 5 equals 5 plus 3. Or multiplication, it could be A times B equals B times A. The order switches, but everything remains the same, okay? Now, associative property is like when you're very social, right? So when I take a look at this picture, this is like Noah, who sits in different seats. So here is Noah in the blue. First, he's over in the corner talking to Gianna. And then we have Noah over here talking to the person in green, who we'll call that Kaiser. Okay, so the parentheses move, okay, like a social butterfly. You're always moving around. So the order, though, it stays the same, okay? So an example with addition would be 3 plus 4 plus 5, okay, equals, and I'm going to put it underneath, 3 plus 4 plus 5. So the order is still 3, 4, 5, but the parentheses have shifted to a different group, okay? And the same thing works with multiplication. Okay, where if I did 3 times 4 in parentheses plus, or I'm sorry, not plus, multiply, my fault, and then equals 3 times parentheses 4 times 5. Okay, so it works the same way. It doesn't matter if we're using numbers or letters. So I know I used letters on the first example. It doesn't make a difference, okay? Okay, inverse and identity. These are the two that we tend to mix up a little bit. Inverse, I want you to think of opposites, and identity is like identical. You should start and end with the identical thing, okay? So inverse means that it's like we're adding the opposite. So when we add the inverse, we end up with 0. So an example of that would be like 3 plus negative 3 equals 0, right? 3 and negative 3 are opposites, or A plus negative A equals 0. Okay, addition adds to 0. But inverse of multiplication is like the reciprocal. So for example, 3 times 1/3, because 3 and 1/3 are opposites, gives me 1. So when I multiply, I want the result to be 1 for an identity. So this would say A times 1 over A equals 1. Okay, so be careful of the difference there. All right, so with identity, this means I start and I end with the identical number. Okay, so like looking in the mirror, right? It's still the same exact thing. So 3 plus 0 equals 3. So the reason why this works is because I started with 3 and I ended with 3. Or if you want a letter, A plus 0 equals A. Okay? Multiplication, we start and end with the identical thing. So 3 times 1 would give me 3, or A times 1 would give me A. All right, start and end. So what I mean by that is I mean that we started with 3, we ended with 3. We started with A, we ended with A. So identical, start and end with the identical thing. Now, the distributive property is only multiplication over addition, so we really don't need both of these words. I'm pretty sure you recognize the distributive property from last year, but just in case you didn't, it could look like this, 3 times 4 plus 3 times 5. We're multiplying this outside number by both parts. Now, I do want you to be aware that for whatever reason, the Regents exam sometimes writes this backwards. So I want to show you what I mean. AB plus AC equals A parentheses B plus C, right? So if we distributed this A, so it's written backwards, and I really don't know why they do that, but that is also considered the distributive property. So these are your notes for today. Try the Regents questions, do the best you can. It's not a grade out of how many you get right. Start your homework and do what you can on your homework. And I'm so sorry I missed you guys, but I will be back tomorrow.